Non-Americans of Reddit, what's the biggest story in your country right now? China, we just had a new emperor. But does he have the mandate of heaven? That is the real question. New Zealand, our prime minister is pregnant. So far for New Zealand we got, trying but failing at finding a Russian spy to throw out. I lonely alpaca, pregnancy in the government. Sounds like a pretty cozy place to be in right now compared to the decapitated children, the assassinated Jewish old ladies, the complete failure of an economy or the oil spills in other countries. Botswana, biggest retail supermarket branch chain workers are on strike for low wages. The company complies with minimum wage laws though, so we shall see what happens. Venezuela, the country with the biggest oil reserves, is about to shut down 3 refineries due to lack of crude oil to process, SMH. So nail in the coffin. Iranian here, the government wants us to support domestic production, even though most of it is hot garbage. They've already started passing some crappy laws banning certain imports. If they want this so much, why don't they at least try to make good products? Khomeini, bro, I swear people will buy products if they are good. No need for all this shady crap. Slovakia, a journalist and his fiancée were murdered in their own house. He was working on an exposé about the Italian mafia meddling with our politicians. Nationwide protests, core politicians stepping down in response. More of the evidence is coming out. Journalists are working nationwide to bring his legacy to light. Newest prime minister seems even worse than what we already had. Generally, not a good time to be a Slovak or Slovak politician right about now. Biggest story in the Czech Republic right now as well, even though it has virtually nothing to do with us. Only the massive incompetence of the city government of Prague is getting an equal amount of media coverage. Denmark, on the 10th, the government is going to lock out basically every single worker in the state. The whole country's probably gonna shut down for some time. This is because of disagreements about salary between the government and the unions. Austria, former government established a law to ban smoking from restaurants, bars etc. The new voted government abolished said law before it came to effect, although the majority of the population was against the abolition. Also, one of our ministers claimed to have been wiretapped. It was a telephone line. Egypt, the election. Apparently the guy running against Sisi voted for him in the booth because he couldn't see his name and not vote for him. This whole election is a sham. Belgium. Today there is apparently a strike. Taxis are blocking the entrances and exits of Brussels. In reality there are only around 650 taxis, so only a few sides of Brussels are blocked. And because everybody knew it, they took the train or chose to work from home. So I'm not sure about the impact. The taximen are protesting against Uber because Uber drivers don't pay taxes and licenses that other taxi drivers are paying, so this is disloyal competition. Last week's huge story was a huge scandal of a company called Veviba that was selling meat that had been frozen for years and obviously rotting to Eastern countries. Disgusting. Italy just made the elections. The two main parties, who for months have talked badly about each other, are about to ally themselves to make the government. The Ole Switchero. Germany, not exactly now but rather a few weeks back but still ongoing. A male nurse murdered approximately 200 people by injection medication to perform CPR to show how good he was at it. Countless graves have been exhumed and investigation is still not finished. Body count may even be significantly higher. These are just the ones known about. Germany, Coles Puigdemont, former Catalan president, arrested. Discussions about the obligation to extradite to Spain. Also probably the biggest news story here in Spain. New Zealand tried to find some Russian spies to expel, but apparently we aren't important enough to have any. Somewhere in New Zealand there's a Russian spy having a little heart attack every time he reads this. Netherlands. To be honest, nothing too special. We had local elections last week and we beat Portugal 3-0. Local elections were mostly as expected, the most notable change being that the new party on the left is cannibalizing the others. Oh, and Turkey allegedly caught one of our spies, who is on his way back home now. Turkey allegedly caught one of our spies, who is on his way back home now. Ah, the walk of shame. Venezuela is quite literally falling apart. In Finland, a singer was caught with crystal M for the second time. My friend, if that's the biggest news in your country right now, I'd say you guys are doing pretty dang good. Terrorist attack with hostage crisis in one of Treb's supermarket near Carcassonne, south of France. Last Friday, a Lieutenant Colonel, Arnaud Beltrame, switched itself with the woman the terrorist was using as a human shield. Beltrame managed to keep the special forces what was going on inside the supermarket, and thanks to that, they could launch an assault on the guy when he decided to shot Beltrame. They killed the guy. Beltrame died the next day. Tomorrow there will be a national homage to Beltrame. This was news in the USA also. Lots of respect going out to Beltrame. Sorry for his family. 1 month ago, an investigative journalist Jan Kuciak and his fiancée Martina Kusnierova were murdered in their home. He was investigating our main governing party ties to Italian mafia. Whole month was about this. Huge protests every Friday and calling our corrupted prime minister off. Robert Fico, who is also connected to the article Kuciak was writing. Now we are voting assembling, aka government agreed to assembly 1. After our president shot down the previous suggestions. There wasn't official public voting. A new government, which looks entirely crappy, because it's still the same party. And we have a new prime minister with an Italian surname who is obvious puppet for the one we just got rid of. This thing doesn't happen here in Slovakia. We are super enraged. The protests to remove the Prime Minister Fico and Kalinak, the Minister of the Interior, were huge, the biggest since 1989. Came here for this. I'm from Czech Republic. Slovakia. Stay strong. Australian cricket team can't play by the rules. Children are getting abducted here in the Philippines. People say it's organ harvesting and it's honestly quite scary. Senegal. Several kids have been murdered and decapitated in different towns by unknown persons. This type of thing does not happen here. Senegalese person chiming in, he's right. Our country is pretty tame when it comes to violence and killings. This is really out of the ordinary, but may have a correlation to the Casamance shootings. Maybe the same groups. Watching BBC Breakfast News, and #1 story is countries around the world expelling Russian diplomatic staff. LOL. And New Zealand headlines. We would expel Russian spies but we can't find any. St. Lucia. I hadn't read any news about my country in a while before this post, so it's currently 0522 and I'm weeping in the dark. Our 2-story cultural center has burned to the ground on Sunday. Priceless artifacts, paintings, documents, projects, turned to ash. The director, Patrick Anthony, came on a news clip and said, "Remember, the Folk Research Center started Jaun and Quill, our cultural heritage month where we dress traditionally, revive dance and music, and play traditional games. And Jaun and Quill cannot be burnt by flames. I'm absolutely beside myself with sadness. Go to your local museums, record stories of your old folks. Get those old family photos and scan them into Google. God, do anything to preserve your history, because it might be taken from you tomorrow." Sweden. A psychopathic Danish inventor allegedly murdered a Swedish journalist on a home-built submarine. The case is basically a real-life episode of The Bridge. Malaysia general election is coming. Government is all don't spread fake news and stuff. Pretty ridiculous. France. Either the terrorist attack in a supermarket or this old lady who survived the Holocaust, killed in her own home because she was Jewish, in 2018. Romania. Here ILL put it simple and clear, corruption. Uber just sold out to Grab, another rideshare company, in Singapore. There goes competition and cheap rides. Switzerland. It's pretty quiet here. The only recent thing was a 4x murderer was convicted, but that's about it really. Had to scroll way down to find Switzerland. Can confirm, nothing's really happening. As usual, really. Brexit's effect on Irish borders. The repealing of the 8th Amendment to legalise abortion in certain circumstances is a big one too. Turbulent times indeed. Our Prime Minister met Ed Sheeran and made him tea and scones. I have literally seen this on the news 3 times today. Our New Zealand. You guys are a breath of fresh air in all of the crap that is happening in the world at the moment. Venezuela. My mom in the US sent my aunt $50 and because inflation is so high the amount it converts to in bolivars through the black market is higher than she's ever had in her account. We're talking about someone who's gone to college and whose husband's family owns a very successful company. The money doesn't even last 2 weeks. Just imagine how bad it has to be for people who work for minimum wage. Australia. Our cricket team are a bunch of dirty cheats. I don't even give a crap about cricket and I'm embarrassed. On Live TV. What a bunch of dickheads. Puerto Rico is still fricked. More at 11. Power goes out. No more at 11. This is really informative and interesting. Would be nice if a single station or two in the US covered these. It's tiring watching the same stories ran in the occasional filler celebrity news. I learned more about current events in 10 minutes here than a whole day of cable news. Romania attempting to reunite with Moldova. No, it probably won't happen because of the Russians in Transnistria. Cambridge Analytica, UK. India. 39 Indians got killed by terrorists in Iraq. Government promises to get the bodies back to India ASAP. Grab, another ride-hailing company, just bought over Uber. We are bracing ourselves for higher transport costs as there is no real competition right now. In other news, we are intending to put in legislation to combat fake news. Google and Facebook just given their views in response to queries. Then the CA issue happened. It is going to be exciting times. Haha, I have a good one. I am in Kenya. An opposition leader guy was deported to Canada some time back because of crap talking the government and incitement. So he came back to the country yesterday and denied government request to get a 6-month visa into the country. He is Kenyan by birth but apparently is a citizen of Canada. He was roughed up by the police and was about to be sent to Dubai. He refused and caused major drama in the plane and in the airport. No one knows where he is now. Don't mess with the government, yo. Russia, huge fire in mall that took more than 60 lives. It's morning through all county. With our corruption situation it was inevitable to happen somewhere. There are horrible videos of people jumping from 4th floor. Thanks Putin and government he organized and sustain. This is the goodest flyboy. He will bring you 10 years of happiness in exchange for a like on this video. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.